Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you're watching this out there on the World Wide Web, we have Greg Schott with us next, CEO of MuleSoft. We're here at 9th Cloud Expo, Santa Clara, California. Thanks for joining us, Greg.
Great to be here, Jeremy.
9 Cloud Expos, and yet we've never interviewed MuleSoft. What's up with that? SaaS and cloud services, that's a marriage made in heaven. We should have been speaking every show.
Yeah. So there's a reason for that. So Mule is the open source project that we're behind, and it is by a lot of measures the #1 integration platform on the planet. We have over 3,200 production deployments of Mule, 100,000 developers running on top of Mule, and 2 million downloads. And we just came to market a few months ago with Ion, which is our cloud platform. It's a cloud platform as a service, provides integration platform services.
Now, just spell the Ion part for people who are watching this on video and they're saying, oh, I want to look that up and I want to Google it.
ION.
Okay, we got that.
All right.
And that's taken off incredibly.
It is. So Ion is very different than anything that's come before it. What we did is we based it on Mule, which is a very sophisticated integration platform, but we made it completely cloud-enabled. So we built it from the ground up to be cloud-based. It's multi-tenant, and it really provides a true cloud platform. So some of the earlier kind of cloud integration solutions out there were very much of a kind of point-to-point. They allowed you to do something very simple, very simplistic, like moving data out of Salesforce into a database. But the minute it became just the least bit complicated, those solutions really started to fall down. So what Ion does is it provides a true platform. So if you're a SaaS provider, let's say, and you want to build an integration application to let your customers integrate with a whole bunch of different on-premise or in the cloud solutions, you can use Ion for that. And then if you want to take that and stamp it out across a bunch of different customers, you can also use Ion for that. It's just very different than anything that came before it.
And that's just, if somebody's following this and they want to just place you in the greater scheme of things, we're talking the PaaS level of our famous PaaS, IaaS, and SaaS. Right. That's what this is. It's a platform play.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different flavors of PaaS. So there's PaaS, which is application platform. So like a Force.com or Heroku, Azure, those application platforms running application workloads, and they're usually tied very tightly to a language. Ion is an integration platform, an iPaaS, and it's really neutral to all of those application platforms. Gartner coined the term a few years ago, this iPaaS category, and it really provides this kind of this integration layer that sits between on-premise in the cloud solutions.
And no one is doing this approach? Or not doing it as well?
Of course, there's nobody who's doing it really the way we're doing it. Others have built it, really the way the others have taken their approach a few years ago. They kind of started from a tool-first perspective, which made them very simple, very kind of simplistic connections, but very, very difficult the minute you want to do something in the least bit sophisticated. We've taken it very much of a platform-first approach. So the same way those PaaSes were built on building something, you can actually build something on top of it. That's how Ion was built. So you can actually build, we call them iApps. You can build an integration application on top of Ion.
So what might be, not so much my pain points, but what, who would gain most now from you? Who's rejoicing and saying, at last I can do. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really kind of a combination of two things about who's rejoicing. The first is, if you think about what enterprises have just spent the last decade unwinding from, it's a lot of the spaghetti code that they built in their enterprises. So service-oriented architecture is really about kind of unwinding all this point-to-point spaghetti integration, very fragile integration work. That same problem is now being created in the cloud, and actually being created 10 times faster, because now anybody in any department can swipe a credit card and they can fire up a SaaS application, or with all the APIs. So 5 years ago there were 100 public APIs, now there's 5,000 public APIs. Your ability to create spaghetti now has gone up exponentially. And so the people who are rejoicing, not only the people now trying to do these integrations like a SaaS provider, but also just the enterprise of people, CIOs, others that are running these big infrastructures that don't want to rebuild all that same mess that they had before. That's what Ion is helping with.
Helping with exponential spaghetti. I like that.
Yeah.
People have heard of it, and yet some of the people watching this haven't heard of it and now suddenly want to catch up with it. Where should they go? What URL? What can they download? How does it all work?
Okay, so first thing is download is not what it's about, because it's all cloud-based. So what they'll do, we already have 1,000 companies using it today. They go to mulesoft.com/Ion, and you can just check it out. In a few minutes, you can be up and running, and you can give it a try.
And what do they look forward to, like in the next, I don't know how often you roll this out, how often do you improve it? They're going to watch that happen.
Yeah, I mean that's really the beauty of any cloud offering. That's why we all love the cloud, is that it's continuous improvement, right? So you can deploy within a matter of weeks. So we actually deploy every 2 weeks. We deploy new versions of our cloud platform. We're deploying a lot around the tooling side, a lot around data integration, data mapping. You can see a lot of improvements for that over time with us.
And we have to ask a personal question, Greg. What got you into all of this?
I've been in integration applications for quite some time. Been doing open source. This is my second open source company. I just love the idea of bringing open source and cloud together.
Oh, I like that. That's a very strong finish. Open source and cloud, married by Greg here and the team.
Absolutely.
Make sure you follow up on his advice. Go to that URL, and I'm hoping, follow all of this when we see you again in June in New York. Absolutely. At what will then be 10th Cloud Expo. Absolutely. Yeah, Greg Schott, thank you very much, CEO, and thank you for joining us out there on the World Wide Web.